Welcome back to my podcast. All right, seriously, guys. All right, welcome back to Review by Top Shelf Tammie. If you guys are viewing from YouTube, make sure you are liking, subscribing, and also turning the notifications on. I am live, or videos are posted every Thursday. So if you just want that little reminder that, hey, your video is up, turn notification on. All right, cool. So I am really super excited about today's episode for a couple of reasons. So we are going to start there and then we're going to jump into the review. So one of the first reasons I am excited is because now as I am taping this episode, I am currently live and posted on YouTube. So yeah, so this is the first episode I am taping where my videos are up. So I'm excited they are doing well. So thank you guys. If you have made it to this video, then that means you are really rocking with me, because some of those videos was a little rough. So today is actually going to set the standard of how the podcast is going to be from now moving forward. When I originally came up with the concept and the planning of the podcast, I did want to do some of the reading from the stories, but as you guys can tell, the reading has to be cut for legal reasons. So we are going to set it up just a little bit different. We're going to do it just a little bit different, but just a smidget. But it's still going to be very detailed. I think I'm going to be even more detailed now just because I can't do some of the things that I originally wanted to do. So we're going to still do the book report. We're going to do the summary, but it just won't be any book reading. But the reviews are going to be more detailed, and also the questions and discussion episode is going to be more detailed as well. So you guys are actually going to get way more now. So like I said, if you like those episodes and you rocking with it, you're gonna love it moving forward. Okay. Cool. All right, moving on. I am also excited because the books this week turn the fire up. Like turn it up. Like, these books got me so excited. They were really good reads. I enjoyed all of the books. So like, I'm excited to bring it to you guys. I think every episode I'm like excited. I'm always like, oh yeah, I'm so excited to bring it to you guys and do the review. But then I'll be excited to bring it to you guys and do the discussion questions. I'm just always excited. I love sharing the good books that I read, and that was the whole point of this podcast. So yeah, that's that. All right, so moving right in, we're gonna jump right into the podcast and to reviewing. So we are doing 3 books this week. A little forewarning: this episode I did not include a supernatural book, but don't worry. Like, moving forward, maybe the next series of books we'll do like maybe all supernaturals or whatever. But I just find it hard to kind of do like the supernatural standalones, because with that type of book, it requires a lot. So it's hard to find a standalone, because the author got to get so many details in. So it's a little bit more challenging for me to do a standalone. I have some great supernatural books, but they are like 3 books, 4 books, 5 books, 6 books. And I haven't really figured out how to do a 7-book, like I can review it, but the time frame that I'm giving you guys to like watch the episodes is before we move on to like a new series of books. It's like 2 weeks, and I don't know who's gonna be able to read like 7 books in 2 weeks. So it's like I haven't really worked that little kink out yet. But not to say we won't get around to supernatural books. I'm still gonna do my best to kind of get you guys to supernatural books. So you guys don't worry about that. That's for me to worry about. Okay. All right. So jumping right into this week's review on our books. Like I said, super excited. These books was like chef kisses, right? So I'm excited to share them with you guys. So the first book up is, drum roll please, Stealing the Plug's Love by Aisha Dawn. This book is a standalone. It was a really good like short read. Of course, like I said, I'm excited for like all of the books today, so it's no question about that I give this book 5 stars, and I'm actually recommending this book. So yes, Still in the Plugs, Love by Aisha Dunn. The review, we recommend you. All right, so let's get to our book report and dive in a little bit deeper into the details. So again, the author is our Aisha Dunn. The setting is in Jackson, Mississippi. This book is a newer book. It was published April 28th, 2025. My genre classifications of this book is a hood urban romance fiction. So that's one of the new things that I add is I'm going to do like a little classification for you guys so you can kind of get it. Cool. It was very little errors. There's actually only one error in this book, so that was really, really good. And then the vocabulary in this book was none. So I didn't have any vocabulary. The main characters in this book, and you know how we do main characters. We do main characters. Whoever gets a part speaking and telling their side of the story is a main character. So we have Britt, we have Blake, are the two sisters who the story is going to be about. We have Mello, Supreme, and Trez. Okay. We are going to do the summary last after I do the review of the book, okay? So was the book engaging? Very much so. Yes, the book is always engaging to me, especially you already know. If it's a 5-star, then yes, it was engaging to me. The opening of the book was like the two girls started out with some trouble from like their shitty ass mom, kind of like falling short on some stuff. And so that like draws you in and gets you invested in the story. So yeah, it was very engaging starting out in the beginning. Was the plot predictable? No. So I did not. So by this being a hood story, and I do kind of feel like hood stories, hood romance stories can kind of get a little repetitive sometimes, but no, it wasn't. So this was definitely not a predictable plot. I didn't guess what was going to happen, and I did see the story kind of going the ways that it went, so that was great. So it was like very fresh, and it was kept you on suspense to the end. So yep. All right. The book strengths. All right, so I think one of the book strengths was that we actually had so many different characters' point of view. I think by this being a standalone book, that was one of the strengths because it gives you a lot of information from a lot of different characters and a lot of different aspects. So you get a lot of more information in a short amount of time. So that was actually one of the book strengths to me. The book weaknesses, I didn't find any book weaknesses. Like everything was cool to me that I could think of. Like I said, it didn't have a lot of errors. It was very engaging, good storyline, not a predictable plot. So yeah, no weaknesses to me. Does the book achieve its goal, keeping the reader entertained? Yes, it did. Like I said, it will have you very engaged in the book to the point where you want to finish the book. So yes, it definitely did its job of entertaining the reader. Did the book make you care about the characters? Yes. Very much so. Like the opening chapter, like I said, was like their very shitty mom disappointing the girls to something important that they were looking for. So it's just already in the beginning of the book, you like, damn. Like you feeling sorry for them. So like I said, that was a good opening to make you care about the characters. So it's not like a lot of backstory, but the beginning of the story and like moving forward, it already draws you in. So was the plot and the dialogue believable in the book? So the dialogue was believable. I feel like the characters speak regular dialogue, and like them talking to each other was nothing like super unbelievable or whatever like that. It was basically how people talk to each other. So yes, that part was believable. A little bit about the plot that was a little bit, just a teensy weensy bit of like unbelievable to me was one of the girls in the story, she finds like a whole bunch of money at her job. I ain't gonna say what she gonna do with it, but if you found a whole bunch of money at your job, like, what you gonna do with it, right? So I ain't even gotta tell y'all that part. So that part was just like a little bit unbelievable for me, because it's like, who leaving that type of money at their job? But maybe with the Florida story, it could happen. I don't know. But, you know, that was a little unbelievable for me. But for the book, we rocking out. Like I say, we gonna let it go, because for the sake of the book, and it needed to happen, okay? Moving on. All right. Inaccuracy. So it wasn't any inaccuracies. We do have some timeline jumps and some time skips. So it started out when the girls are younger. They get a little bit older, but I believe everything still matched to me. The ages match up perfectly. The time frame match up perfectly. Like, everything is still cool. Trigger warning or graphics. It was a little talks of murder. And I want to say it was one murder scene. So I don't know, like if that's too much for you. But like I said, we're going to always do the trigger warning and the graphics. But other than that, it was cool. So we had nothing else to kind of be warned about. So yeah, that is our book report. And now I am going to move on to the reading of the summary. So legal, we worked all the summary issues out and what I can read to you guys. So let's jump into what I can read for you guys, which is my summary of the book. Alrighty. So this is the reading for Still in the Plug's Love. Blake never chose this life, a life filled with hardship, danger, and daily battles for survival. But when it came down to protecting herself and her sister British, she did whatever she had to do. British is Brit. The streets were unforgiving, and each day felt like a fight just to stay afloat. Blake thought that she had already seen the worst of what life could throw her way, but one decision changed everything. The single choice didn't just shift her reality, it opened the door to a past connection she never expected to face again. Suddenly, she found herself tangled in emotions she thought were buried, caught between survival and something deeper. Just when she thought she was beginning to understand her path, a mysterious figure entered the picture, shaking up everything she and British believed to be true. This stranger's presence forced British to confront questions she never imagined, making it clear that survival was the only start of a much more complicated journey. As the sisters fight to protect each other and figure out who they can trust, secrets come to light and hearts get tested. Blake realizes that the real challenge isn't just staying alive, it's deciding who's worth the risk of opening her heart to again. What begins as a gritty fight for survival soon becomes a dangerous game of love, loyalty, and betrayal. Y'all, this book is so good. Okay. So like I said, this book was really good. I think rereading it get me all amped up, because then I be like, the pictures be flashing in my mind of like what happened in the book. But again, Still in the Plug's Love by Aisha Don, the review, we recommend you. 5 stars. Like I said, it was a great book for a standalone. It's a short read, so yes, definitely recommending that one. Okay, moving along. Okay, so our next book is, oh my goodness, y'all. Our next book was like a tie for my favorites this week. You know, I am not shy about telling y'all like which one was my favorite. This one was a really good read. It was definitely a tie for my favorite. Like I said, this one and the last one is a tie for my favorite. So as I mentioned before, we do not get a supernatural, but this one is a mystery. So we got a mystery, and this one is so good. So, alrighty, without further ado, drum roll please. I Think My Boyfriend is a Serial Killer by Kia Jones is the book that I am reviewing, and the review, we recommend you 5 stars. So like I said, the title again, I'm going to say the title again for y'all. I Think My Boyfriend is a Serial Killer. Okay? This book was great. This book was great. So like I said, it is not a supernatural, but it's a mystery. So let's get on to the review of this book. And I think you guys, like I said, I think you guys are going to love this. I think you guys are not going to be mad at me for not getting a supernatural in here this week. So y'all gonna be happy with this one for real. So let's get to reviewing. So again, the author is Kia Jones. The setting of this book is in Dallas, Texas. This is actually an older read. This book was published in June 26, 2021. I read this book before. So this is actually a reread for me. But as you can see, the book came out in 2021, and I think I read it close to that time. And yeah, here we are in 2025. So I kind of didn't actually remember it, because if you guys remember, I told you I read a lot of books a year. So this was quite some time ago. So it felt like a fresh book, and it got me all excited again. And I love that. Like, if I could reread a book and be like, oh yeah, I'm excited as I was just the first time around reading it, that's a good book. So this was my second time reading this book. And like I said, it was great. I didn't remember. I kind of did. I actually did kind of remember like a little bit, but I couldn't remember like some of the fine details as I was reading the book. So like I said, it felt like a fresh read to me. My genre classifications of this book is a urban romance, like thriller mystery. So yes. Errors, it was no errors in this book. I didn't find any errors. We had no name mix-ups. We had no misspellings. We had no wrong words usage. So yeah, no errors in this book. Vocab, we didn't have any vocab in this book. The main characters in this book is Jackie and Flame. Those are the only two characters we are going to hear a point of view from on who's going to speak. Alrighty, so starting with the book report. Was the book engaging? The book was very engaging, but still, by it being a thriller, it wasn't too scary, but definitely kept me on the edge. The engaging part of this book is that it is a thriller. So of course, it's not scary, but it's still a thriller and a mystery. So you are definitely gonna be like, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Like, and then it's like, I think my boyfriend, your boyfriend? Oh my God. Oh my God. So it's just like, let's get to it. Let's figure out who it was. Was the plot predictable? No. The plot was not predictable. It was like some hints the author always kind of give you to kind of make you think that like the story is going in a certain direction, but it's not. So there was like, yeah, so it was not predictable. You're going by being a mystery. It's kind of like Clue. You got to put down, you're thinking as you're reading, like, okay, which way it's going, who it's going to be, and y'all ain't going to see it coming. Y'all ain't going to see it coming. The book strengths. Okay, so the book strengths was, to me, was, it was a very strong story. Just the right amount of details for it to be a standalone. Like, I applaud authors who can give us like a very full story in a standalone, because it's super hard. It's super hard to get all those details in there. And to mention, this story still was not that long. I don't think this book was over 2 hours. I think this book is like an hour and a half. So for this to be like such a great story, such a strong story, and her able to get all the details in there, have it very suspenseful, thrilling, mystery, this was a great freaking read. Great read. Book weaknesses. It was none to me. I enjoyed the book. Not too many errors. All questions answered in the end, and everything made sense. So yeah, this book just did not have, I can't say anything bad about this book. This book did not have any errors, any book weaknesses. This book was fire, y'all. Fire. Does this book achieve this goal of keeping the reader entertained? And yes, it keeps the reader entertained. I feel like it was, I actually feel like we get a life lesson out of this book as well, but I am not going to do the life lesson right now, because if I tell you the life lesson, it's going to give too much of the book away. So we are going to actually say the life lesson for the questions and discussions episode of this series. And yeah, so we'll circle back. Does the book make you care about the characters? Absolutely. It's a thriller. My boyfriend's a serial killer. We don't want our girl with no serial killer. You know what I'm saying? So yes, the book absolutely makes you care about the characters. So of course we have the main character. What was her name? Her name is Jackie. So Jackie is the main character. So that is the one who we are suspecting boyfriend is a serial killer. So of course you care about her off the rip because that's our girl. That's our main character. She's talking about her boyfriend is a serial killer. We all in. Flame is our friend, and he is super funny. He is gay, and we love a good boy gay bestie, of course. And so yes, like both of the characters draw you in and make you care about them. Was the plot and the dialogue believable? Okay, so for me, and this is not bad, but I do not believe like the plot was a little believable to me because the nature of the serial killer. Now, when we this about to be a little bad to say, but okay, because everybody always be like a certain rapper. I'm not gonna say no name. A certain rapper was like a serial killer or whatever like that. So when we think of like hood serial killers, we think about the guys that's in the street, maybe out here in trouble and whatever. So we just don't think about a serial killer in this line to me in a book. So the serial killer in this book was like an anal rapist, sodomizing people and killing them. So it was like when you think of stuff like that, you think of a different look for the guy. You don't think he is like a hood guy. You might get like nerdy, quiet, like those be like those type of serial killers, right? So that part of the plot was like a little unbelievable to me, but it also makes the book better and more mysterious, okay? So yeah, the dialogue was just definitely believable. Like Flame and Jackie, they talk to each other like you would talk to your bestie, the cracking the jokes on each other, everything. So yes, the dialogue is believable. The plot to me, like I said, was just like a little unbelievable, just because the nature of the serial killer. Just a little bit. Inaccuracies. So I did have just one inaccuracy to me. So it is going to be a day in the, and I wouldn't say it's really inaccurate. Yeah, no. Take it back. Yes, it is inaccurate because the day in a book, it's like it's gonna be like a really long day, and it started out the chapter by saying I have been at work for 12 hours, and I'm thinking like, so I'm doing the math in my head because that's the geek in me a little bit, and like that's why I told you I get to reviewing and really fine tooth combing these stories so they can make sense. So if you've been at work for 12 hours and then Flame hit you up and say, oh, come to a pool party afterwards, and then you got a note that said come and meet at 11 o'clock at night, the time of this day just didn't make sense to me. So I'm gonna leave it there because, like I said, I don't want to get too much of like the story away. And I'm not giving the story away, right? So we're gonna leave it there. So that was just the only thing to me, that one. Trigger warning or graphics. So there is talks of murder, but the scenes they're not wrote in like detail. So like the murder happened and it does not, Jackie does not descript it to us, and because the points are from Jackie and Flame, so the murders are not, they're not descriptive to us, they're only spoke about. So it'd be like, oh, this person, I was just talking to this person, then this person ended up dead. So the murders are not in detail or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about that. And then we had a scene with kind of like rough sex. It was consensual, but it was rough. So yeah. So that was that. So that is the review of I Think My Boyfriend is a Serial Killer. So again, you already know we're giving this book 5 stars. We are recommending my readers and my viewers to read this book. It was great. Like, I'm still excited. I'm still excited because I cannot wait to do questions and discussion with you guys, because like I said, we are going to dive so much deeper into the questions and discussions episode now. So yes, y'all go love this book. Y'all go love this book. So let's get to the summary and then we're going to move on. So the summary for I Think My Boyfriend is a Serial Killer by Kia Jones goes as In a city shaken by a series of brutal murders, Jackie begins to sense a disturbing pattern that others seem to overlook. As she digs deeper into the details of each case, she starts to connect the dots, and all of the clues seems to point in one direction: her boyfriend. At first, she brushes off the thought as unthinkable, but as the evidence mounts and her intuition grows stronger, Jackie can no longer deny the terrifying possibility. Conflicted by love, fear, and a desperate need for the truth, Jackie finds herself torn between loyalty and justice. She's convinced she knows who the killer is, but knowing isn't enough. With the entire city on edge and time running out, Jackie must gather the courage and proof. She needs to expose the truth before someone else becomes the next victim. The question is, can she do it in time, and what will it cost her? You see? So yes, it's her boyfriend, y'all, and she gonna want to go and investigate him. She's gonna go on like stakeout missions to see if he's the killer. I'm gonna leave it right there. Okay, guys, so moving into our last book of the review. Like I said, so the serial killer one and this one, like I said, was tied for my favorites. Both of those books are like different. So I've already talked about, I think My Boyfriend is a Serial Killer book, and so that one is a thriller mystery. So it's different from the last book we're gonna read because it's not that. So I feel like I can have both of these as best for this week because they're different. Now, if they were like genre classified the same, then I would have to pick for you guys. But this one, I don't feel like I gotta pick. I don't feel like I gotta pick, right? So the last book we are reviewing today is, drumroll please, Doing the Unthinkable by Nicole Jackson. Now, this was also a reread. This was a reread from a while ago. And so I was like, I gotta turn the heat up for y'all. And that's what I was feeling like. I was like, oh, you remember that one? The one stories that you read? That was so good. They was fire, right? This is one of those stories where you live vicariously through the character, because doing the unthinkable, yes, it's gonna be doing some stuff where it's like, I wouldn't do that, but I'm gonna read this story and I'm gonna let her do it for me, right? Okay, so like I said, this was also a reread, and when I read this book, I was like, oh, this author snapped, and let me read some more of her books. Like, that's how I felt when I read this story. So like, I went on to read more of her books. She got one that's very similar to this. We might do it, we might not do it. I don't know yet, but this one's gonna do it for y'all. This one is a series. It's 2 books, okay? So again, this one is Doing the Unthinkable by Nicole Jackson, and this is the only book this week that has more than 1 book. So it's 2 books, but it's not that bad. So yes, moving right along into our book report. Doing the Unthinkable by Nicole Jackson. Oh, fine. All right. So again, the author was Nicole Jackson. The setting is Houston, Texas. This book was published July 7, 2024. So not that old. So like I said, this was a reread for me, but I knew what was gonna happen, but I graciously read this book again because yeah, it was good. It was good. Doing the Unthinkable, it was good. My genre classification of this book is a urban romance drama. So we're gonna leave it at that. So it was a couple errors in this book, not too many, just 2. We actually do have some vocabulary for this book, and the word was jovial, mean good humor and cheerfulness, jolly. So I feel like in context, when I read new vocabulary, I know what they mean. Though I know what the words mean when I'm reading, like, context clues. but I just be wanting to make sure. So that's why I'm throwing it like vocabulary in there. The main characters is Yaya, Will, and Romeo. So one girl, two guys, love triangle. Alrighty. Okay, so what's the book engaging? I just said it. A woman with two men, love triangle. It was very engaging. We had a lot of risky behavior, baby. Like, yes, very much drama filled, engaging from the beginning to the end. Okay, to the end. Like the last sentence, you're gonna be like, this is crazy. So yes, very engaging. Was the plot predictable? No. So I didn't see the plot happening the way that it happened. Just because of some of the choices like the main character girl made, I feel like I wouldn't have made those choices. It went different. So yeah, it wasn't predictable. It wasn't predictable. Book strengths. The book was well written. It had a full plot. And everything all made sense in the end. All questions are answered in the end. So yeah, that was the book strength. I don't feel any leftover like questions or lingering concerns or anything like that. So yes, absolutely, that's the book strength, was just a full story. Book weaknesses, none. Like the book didn't have any weaknesses to me. Great, like I said. Does the book achieve its goal of keeping the reader entertained? Yes. That's all I gotta say. From the questions I already answered about engaging and the plot being predictable and stuff like that. So yes, those answers to those questions help with this one. So yes. Did the book make you care about the characters? Yes. I feel like with the drama, the deceit, the lies, everything is going to draw you in. It's going to make you care about the characters. It's going to make you be like, damn, that person was done wrong, or damn, they moving like that. So yes, you're going to care. You're going to care about characters and the outcome. Was the plot and the dialogue believable? Yes and yes. So the plot is believable because I do feel like this is like everyday situations. Now, is it everyday situations for you per se? Maybe not, but you probably knew somebody who was in a situation like this. So yes, it's everyday occurrences. It is very believable. Yes, the dialogue also was believable too. It was things that you would say, ways that the everyday common people would talk. So yeah. Inaccuracies. No inaccuracies. I feel like when Arthur mentioned one detail at the beginning of the first book, that detail carried over to the second book. It wasn't no inaccuracies. So yeah, that was good. So the trigger warning or graphics. So no trigger warnings. I don't think. Yeah, no trigger warnings in this book, but I will say that it was some very graphic sex scenes in a good way. Like I told you at the beginning, I'm turning it up for y'all, and I know that's what y'all want. That's what y'all the nasty selves want. So yeah, we got a lot of good graphic sex in this one. I'll just let y'all know that now. I ain't gonna hide it from you. I'll let y'all know that. So we are going to move on to our summary reading, and then we're gonna wrap this thing on up so y'all can get to y'all reading. All right. Okay, so this is the reading for Doing the Unthinkable by Nicole Jackson. Summary. Yaya never imagined she'll be caught in the middle of a love triangle that seems straight out of a fantasy. Two dangerously attractive men, both with mysterious pasts, competing for her attention. At first, the thrill of being desired by two powerful men feels intoxicating. They're charming, bold, and irresistible, each willing to go to great lengths to win her heart. But the fantasy quickly turns dark when Yaya realizes these men aren't just smooth talkers. They are deeply tied to the streets, and their rivalries come with real life consequences. As tensions rise and secrets are revealed, Yaya is forced to confront the harsh truth. Playing with the hearts of killers isn't just risky, it can be deadly. Now caught in a triangle web of passion, danger, and deception, Yaya must decide who she can trust and whether love is worth losing everything, including her life. Do you hear me, y'all? This one was good, baby. Like my summary said, like both of the guys are attractive. They both love her. They're both sweet. They both want to be with her. Like, this is a good book, y'all. Y'all gonna love this one. So, again, Doing the Unthinkable by Nicole Jackson. The review, we give you 5 stars and we recommend you. All right. All right, guys. So, you know how I do it. I'm not going to hold you too much long. I gave you a lot of information in the beginning, so it's not too much to talk about on wrapping this thing up. Today we did Stealing the Plug's Love, I Think My Boyfriend is a Serial Killer, and Doing the Unthinkable. All of these books were great. They were great reads. I suggest all of them to you if you can. So yeah, I'll see you. Oh, no, I got to wrap up. So again, if you are an author or viewer and you want to write in, my email is ts_tammiepod@yahoo.com. I welcome your reviews. I welcome any authors who want their books or their poems read or reviewed. You can hit me up at that email. If you want to stay a little bit more connected to me, you can hit me up at topshelf_Tammie. That's my IG. And my TikTok is topshelftammie. And that's it on the TikTok. So again, this has been reviewed by Top Shelf Tammie, and we'll see you next week.